I only ask that you breathe deeply through your nose and out your mouth. Another suggestion would be that you could get very sick at your stomach eating Reese's, Whoppers, Milk Duds, Rolos, Heath Bars, and the all-time favorite, Kit Kat. You see, old KJ, knew this was coming. I know y'all don't want to hear me say it, but I knew it was coming. How's everybody doing? Thank y'all for being here on such short notice. Hi, Daughter of Scotland, Jean Fatu, Peggy 0400, Harley 62, Jennifer, Gloria Fritz, Christina Hall, Tanya C., Ron Hensley, Tina Reddington. Y'all, I guess all I can do is just let y'all vent as much as I feel like I want to vent, because this news has come out today. I posted it on the community wall. But with that said, Big E's been the holy grail of getting these docs out. I kind of just hold some of them back because I feel like Cresha should get first dibs on anything, so I don't usually say anything unless I ask him. How you doing, Sarah Smith? Red-handed, it is very yummy, but it's either eat all that candy to kind of soothe me, or I could get drunk. And I just don't think that's part of OKJ's plan on a Tuesday. But for those of y'all that don't know the news, I love you, Charity B. I love all of y'all. Thank y'all for being there. It's never ending. It's not going to, it just seems like it's one thing after another. I think it was Tina Reddington says, if these damn assholes were so innocent, then why aren't they trying to get their speedy ass trial? Huh? Tina Reddington was correct. And I have 10-foot ceilings in here. So y'all just have to excuse me. I just didn't feel like being in the Ray room. I'm not in the mood. I'm really trying to say, well, you know what? The integrity of the case. The integrity of the case. The integrity of the case. But it's just one damn thing after another. Tina, I knew I was going to say that, says Harley 62. Jean Panek says, thank you, Big E, for all your help with providing the documents. Hello, Kathy. Kathy wants everyone to know that she has posted that in Cresha's Discord. So for all of y'all that don't get the documents, because I don't have, all I had was the motions that I was trying to go over this week. In fact, I wanted to go over today, this afternoon, I was going to go over Chad's motion, his motion to sever once again. And it's a little lengthy. But then we already know that Chad has a motion out there to continue as well. So this whole idea, Chad's been in jail all this time, and John Pryor keeps putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. It can only come to the conclusion that these people are, they can put it off all they damn well want to. They're guilty. What about the families? What about the families? They are on a roller coaster that was not of their making. They did not choose to be here. And then to top it all off, some of the family members are not going to be able to make it every damn day to a trial that we don't even know when it's going to happen. Because of the cameras not being in there, the family members suffer. And the cost, says just me. Think about every damn time Larry and Case had to go to Idaho, or when Cresha's had to go. Think about what Kresh is trying to do just to get some understanding of what happened to her family members. The money that she's pulled out of her own pockets. This is bigger than these damn assholes wanting to put stuff off. Lori Vallow Daybell's defense team is asking a judge to pause court proceedings in her case and postpone the trial, says East Idaho News. In a motion filed Monday, this was yesterday, Jim Archibald and John Thomas, Daybell's defense attorneys, requested District Judge Stephen Boyce continue the trial and toll time limits in the case. Tolling time limits essentially pauses the deadlines required by the court to file certain motions. And if they want everything damn told, then they're not doing their damn job. This is a adjudication process. These damn defense attorneys know good and damn well what they're up against. I don't give a rat's ass how many other cases they're dealing with. Put that shit aside and focus on this death penalty case. A large portion of the 2-page motion is redacted, but Archibald hints the reason for the continuance request is related to what, y'all? How many of y'all have told me this? And I didn't want to it wasn't that I didn't want to listen or that I didn't want to respect what you were saying. I just kept falling back on how in the hell does the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, she's competent when she comes back from Hawaii. She says in her court hearings in Hawaii and when she first gets back to Idaho, I understand. Then she's ruled incompetent. Then she stays gone in this damn spa for 10 months. And then the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare says she's competent. But here we are. The time limit to file written notice of our intention to raise any issue of mental condition under Idaho Code Title 18 is 90 days before trial, says Archie. But don't you find it rich that he's letting the judge know we have these time constraints? There's 90 days for that, but he doesn't think about the other shit that he's supposed to be doing. None of it. Just that. So that's what it is, y'all. He thinks Lori is out of her freaking mind. What's interesting, and we'll go down at the end of this, you'll see that the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare doesn't want shit to do with this. Daybell's case was previously paused after she was declared incompetent for trial and committed to the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare in June of 2021. 10 months later, she's deemed competent. They made her take medicine. And proceedings resumed. And of course, we all know the woman is a nut job. Not so much a nut job that she can't face the fact that she murdered her own children. And she murdered Charles. And she conspired to murder Tammy. Still, Archibald called Daybell's mental health extremely complex and fragile. You know what extremely complex and fragile means to OKJ when it comes to Lori Hussey Daybell? It means she's one evil whore. That's what she is. She's just evil. And nobody's been able to figure out how to get rid of the evilness of this world. But if they took a good look, there's only one way. One way to get rid of the evil in this world, and that is through Jesus Christ. But did Lori and Chad, did they use Jesus Christ for good? No. They endorsed and they espoused religious fanaticism in order to justify murdering innocent children, Charles Vallow and Tammy. It's just as clear as crystal. How ironic. And Archibald noted, y'all listen to this. Archibald noted that she has the potential to be hospitalized again. What do you think? Oh, Lori there, she doesn't like it in the jail cell. She don't like her own little pod over there. She's just not, it's just not as homey. I don't have people asking me questions all day like at Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, making me do my tests and lessons. And I need all the attention in the world, and I'm not getting it here, sitting in this damn jail cell. None of the experts employed by the court and the state of Idaho Department of Health and Welfare claim that she's malingering or making up her mental illness. That is a travesty. That tells you everything you need to know about how evil slithers away every time. You can be sure there's that fine line between mental health issues or mental illness and just someone being a narcissistic psychopath, an evil, diabolical hussy. In a separate court filing Monday, Idaho Deputy Attorney Amy Long, okay, now listen to this, responded on behalf of the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare to a request from an author to have sealed court documents in the Daybell cases unsealed. Wonder who that author is. Wonder who this author who's stupid enough to think that anyone's going to unseal Lori Daybell's mental illness, mental health records. That shows you the audacity. But maybe, just maybe, if it's this author gets their hearing on the 13th, we can all shut the door on that crap of shit and move forward. And this author can become irrelevant. Just Me says, I'm getting tired of people interfering. You damn Skippy, Just Me. She was probably informed that her husband wants the trial severed. Hope Grace, good point. You can be sure whether it's Chad or Lori, their attorneys are apprising them of the legal maneuvering of their co-defendant there. You know, that goes into this whole thing about Chad wanting another severance. Y'all wait till that dang pre-record comes out. Y'all think I'm just going to go over and beat a dead horse over the time that Judge Boyce said, no, this is a joinder and it's going to stay together, and then he doubles down? You think I'm going to go over that all over again? No, I've got some new material because John Pryor, he's got the material. He's got a, look at this. He's got a table of contents this time. Wonder if he's got somebody in there doing it, making the little dots that go across to number 1, number 3, and all the way down. This is so much more professional now. Like Judge Boyce is going to say no to John Pryor, double down against it with John Pryor. And I know some of y'all say, well, look at all the recent things that's happened. Maybe now's the time. Folks, Ada County's been working in the background. They're getting this allotted time available for this trial. Judge Boyce knows this. I am not saying that this is going to go off without a hitch on January 9th. In fact, I think it's going to be moved back, just as I feared. But it's not going to be moved off too far. I mean, I hope not anyway. That's my hope. Vix Tech says justice delayed is justice denied. I'm telling y'all, this whole situation is a crock of shit. It's what it is. Long, who is the deputy attorney responding on behalf of the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, wrote that the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare does not intend to take a position or participating in the proceedings. And we're talking about October 13th. They're not even going to be there. So this whole damn crap that Archie's pulling about Lori, she might have to go back to the spa. They're not even going to be there. I cannot wait to hear the state's response. And it would seem to me that the state would get with the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare for some kind of proffer or something, or some kind of something to say, we made her competent. Y'all can take it from there. Just because Archie says that she's complex and fragile does not mean that she's went off the deep end and the whatever treatment that the Idaho Department of Welfare gave her isn't working. Think about this. If this woman had no mental illness at all, you think she's going to be acting normal anyway? Nobody would. She murdered her children. She's sitting her little happy ass in a jail cell, thinking that as long as she can prolong this, because once they convict her ass, there ain't no more rights for this woman. She has a right to 3 hots and a cot in a prison cell, whether it's on death row or in a prison. So the Department of Health and Welfare ain't even going to be there, which speaks a lot to me. The department's interest in this matter is solely in protecting confidential information on the participants, Long wrote. In other words, the Department of Health and Welfare ain't going to come in here and help the judge make a decision at this point because they've made her competent. What they're saying is our only job now is to protect the protected information. And that's rightly so. Will the judge ask for their opinion? I don't know. And I don't know that Lori didn't go and have some kind of testing done that's sealed since getting out of the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. Remember they were supposed to do something, some brain scans or some shit like that? Well, I'll tell you what, they need to do more than a brain scan on that damn hussy. They need to scan her whole body and they'll find on the big screen one evil bitch. The newest filing comes a week after John Pryor, Chad Daybell's attorney, filed motions to sever Chad's case from his wife's and postponed the trial until late 2023. A hearing on the motions is scheduled for October 13th in Fremont County. Okay, so on the 13th, there's going to be a lot of motions. There's going to be a lot of motions that's going to be talked about. And Judge Boyce is going to have to make the decisions on this. And, you know, I could give y'all my opinions, but I don't know that it's going to help at this point. Marie Burke says it's further tormenting Kay, Larry Kresha, and the rest of their family. It makes me sick. Lori needs a lobotomy, in my opinion. What she needs is a straitjacket and a padded room. Let her live there for a while. You know, make sure there's no mirrors in there, because if she has a mirror in there, she's liable to sit in that mirror forever. Oh, I'm the queen. I see myself. What a joke. Cook Goose in Florida says this is so wrong. She needs to get on her knees and beg God for forgiveness. Well, Cook Goose in Florida. Anyone who does anything wrong needs to do that, if they so feel that's their faith. But I can tell you right now, this woman she didn't have enough courage to even say out of her own freaking mouth that she was not guilty. She remained silent. At least old Fat Chin got down there and said, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. What a crock of shit. KJ, it's a matter of time before the defense demands 2 juries to try both defendants at the same time if they don't get a severance. Well, Gene Panak, if you listened to my video last time, Archie's already alluded to this. In a roundabout way, he's already given alternatives in his motion for the death penalty qualification to be taken out. He says, hey, Judge Boyce, here's the alternatives. You could get a jury that's not death penalty qualified to hear the trial, and then you can get another jury, if she is convicted, to be death penalty qualified. He wants 2 juries. And of course, Both teams are talking all this jazz about disparities from race, religion, gender, all this and that. It's not going to float, but they've got to do something, right? I guess the big question is the judge going to push this back now? Well, if you got Chad saying he needs a continuance, and before he filed that continuance, I thought, well, this is on track. But then when he filed it, I thought, no, Lori said she wanted her speedy trial, but the judge compromised and said, well, it's going to go past her speedy trial, but we'll have it January 9th. And so he did that, and he was able to justify that in terms of the laws there. How is he going to do that again? I'll tell you why and how. Because now her attorney has said he wants a continuance. See, I thought that was going to shut the door on Chad getting a continuance because Lori was going to stand strong on her speedy trial. But no, Archie and them, they've got their thumbs up their ass. So does John Pryor, taking a swig off the flask there. They're not doing their jobs. You're right, Sarah Smith. Archie has, and more. Gender, male, race, religion, and lots more. You are correct. And Paula's going to calm me down here. Sending prayers for Kay, Larry, and Cresha. I know this is so difficult for them. Listen, y'all. We do. We need to think about the victims' family members. This makes me ashamed now for getting upset. But it's just, we all want to see this. We want to see the families get justice. And maybe I could say that I'm just outraged because of what I know this family's been through. But I won't lie to you. I confess it. I wanted this case adjudicated. It didn't have to be quickly, but it could have been a little bit, I mean, for God's sake, it's been since 2019. Somebody was saying it, well, it took 5 years for Jodi Arias. I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear it. But now it's slapping me back and forth in the face. Linda Cadile says, this makes me so furious. My heart breaks for Larry, Kay, and Cresha. And I'm so glad that some of y'all can put y'all's own. I mean, I guess I'm just selfish. I'm just selfish, I guess. Because I wanted things to move forward. I wanted to see justice through understanding. I knew it wasn't going to be fast. I knew it was going to be complex. I knew it was going to take a little time. But, I mean, I could see Archie perhaps not being ready since he's not been on it as long as John Pryor, but for goodness sake. How many times during all this shit did John Pryor say, we're ready to go? We're ready to go. Well, he ain't ready to go. He ain't ready to go at all. And he's filed a continuance. He also wants the case severed all over again. But, I'll tell you this right now. There are these circumstances that could set it up that something could be severed. But let's think through that. If they had to move this trial, change of venue to Ada County, are we talking about 2 trials that have to take place in Boise? I don't think so. Judge Boyce is going to work this out, and he's going to be able to do it without any appeals issues. I believe it. Candace and my friend Jenny says if one goes left, the other goes right. Games. Oh, and this goes into this whole thing about Lori's attorney didn't want cameras in the courtroom, and everybody's like, oh, look, John Pryor's, he wants cameras in the courtroom. This is how I feel. John Pryor must, this is good. Let me tell you something. First of all, John Pryor wants it in the trial. He's not said nothing about pre-trial. But even if it's something we all want, that it's in the trial. The bottom line is he's doing it to mess with this whole situation. Think about this, okay? If the judge did rule no cameras because the judge accepted the state's argument that cameras would not be good, and Lori's team, their argument that cameras would not be good. And then John Pryor got his way and the cameras were in the courtroom. You think perhaps they could look back and say this judge 1 minute said it was wrong to have cameras in there because they wouldn't get a fair trial, but then the next minute one of the co-defendants got their way to have the cameras back in there. Appeals issue, line item. Does anybody really not see? They're all going to do whatever they can. And this is the whole problem with co-defendants. But there is no case more worthy of co-defendants than a conspiracy to commit murder case. I've been studying my ass off, and I have come to the conclusion that in John Pryor's motion for severance, he makes it crystal clear that Chad is going to use the antagonistic defense. Do y'all remember that? We'll go over it in a pre-record. He is now showing his hand. The problem with that, though, is that I have been looking all this case law up, and on a state and federal level, the defendants must be on an evidentiary collision course. Okay, this is in code. In other words, if it's the same evidence and all of that, and it's not on a collision course with each other, it's just seamless down through both defendants, then they can't sever that. But if it does, if the evidence collides with one another, then they have a good argument for severance. This brings me great comfort. It's stated right in the federal codes right there, because it would have to go all the way up to the appeals and all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they've already ruled on this stuff. It's really Zafiro versus United States. Zafiro. Look it up. This tells everything you need to know about the antagonistic defense and how the federal courts do not, when it comes to conspiracy cases. It's all about why not, wouldn't they point fingers at one another. One say they're innocent and knew nothing. The other one says they're innocent and knew nothing, and they both point at each other. That is not an antagonistic defense, because finger pointing is not a collision course with the evidence. It's just not. And I'll explain, I'll try anyway. I've been trying really hard to look through these motions to try to see where these defense attorneys are trying to put their little patches of appeals issues here and there. You know good and damn well they're talking about gender, religion, all this other crap, race, that they're thinking maybe down the road in the federal appeals courts there, they'll get a little hook into something. Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are. Attributed to Benjamin Franklin. Screw not being outraged, says Shelley Tarbert. Good comment there, Shelley. I take heart that when they finally go to trial for conspiracy, says Mariah. Chad is scrambling to save himself, especially after Lori's court appearances showed such haughtiness. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm curious to know if Chad actually got to see her on TV or whatever. I don't know that he has. But I'll say this much right now. We've got so much on October 13th and it's just a damn shame that we're just going to hear about it. We can't be there to see that process, and we don't know if the judge is going to rule at that time or whether he'll take it under consideration, whether he'll, do a written order. We don't know. But we're not going to be able to be there and see that. And, a while back when I said the integrity of this case and how I was on Judge Boyce's side, I still stick to that. I still believe he's a neutral arbiter of justice. Like a referee, I really believe that. I don't believe he's for the state, and I don't think he's for the defense. And a lot of people think he's coddling. He's coddling the defenses. Well, folks, he has to walk a fine line. He doesn't want any appeals issues. He's got other people that are there to peer review him and help him through this. He's not slowly making these decisions just because he thinks he's right. He's got people there helping him, other judges, other attorneys, other, people that can help him through this. Most judges that sit on death penalty cases have this. So I'm not concerned that he's going to make a misstep. What I'm concerned with is initially Chad gave up his right. He gave that up. He gave up his right to a speedy trial. And because he gave that right up, the bottom line is, the judge obviously wasn't going to say, well, because you gave up that speedy right to a trial, Chad Daybell, I can let you sit in the jail cell as long as you want, because that goes to cruel and unusual punishment. But if he has justification for why Chad's had to wait this long, and there's a myriad of reasons why, and then you've got Lori over here, 10 months of all this time Chad's been in jail. Chad hasn't screamed to go to trial. He hasn't said a damn word about it. Someone will be there at the hearing. I'm going to back KJ with the opinion of Boyce. He's trying to have a fair trial. Thank you, Tina. And listen, folks, if y'all have a totally different view, remember I said personal attacks are different than criticism, healthy criticism. I can deal with the healthy criticism, but I cannot, or healthy disagreements. I can deal with that. I cannot deal with people personally attacking him without any evidence whatsoever. Try to visualize Chin and Lori sitting on cold metal stool wearing used crunchy baggy underwear. Well, don't you know? Both John Pryor and Archie has gotten the okay that when they go to the court hearings, Lori can wear what she wants. Chad can wear what he wants. Him in his white damn shirts and his ugly ass ties. I mean, that man is ugly. And I'm telling you what, Larry Woodcock was correct. She ain't aging well. She's not. Oh, Lord. So what do y'all think? Y'all think a lot of this will get ironed out on October the 13th? Because I'm going to sit here and eat these milk duds while y'all tell me what you think. Damn, those are good. Hey, Angel. Maria P. Don't you know? Chad's loin fire is still hot as ever with Bubba. Oh, yeah, you're right about that, Harley 62. Tina. The gherkin pickle. Crochet and Bambi, no way. No way. Chad's not going to get any deal to take the death penalty off the table. Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. I had this thought on my mind about that last comment about Crochet and Mamie saying, I think Chud is going to make a deal to get the death penalty off the table. Well, John Pryor kind of alludes to it a little bit in there. Remember a while back, y'all? I mean, if y'all really put two and two together, I've gotten some things right and some things wrong. But remember when I told y'all that when the state of Arizona did not charge Chad Daybell in the attempt on Brandon's life and also the conspiracy to commit murder on Charles, in that motion for severance, John Pryor clearly, and I'll get to it in a pre-record, he clearly says that his client has shown that because Lori was already doing all this other behavior over here, and even Crusha said it, it makes Chad look better that he is not being charged in Arizona because it looks like Alex and Lori started all this crazy ass crime spree, and it makes it look like that somehow they just framed Chad when they got into Idaho because they were already involved in all this crime that Chad has not been implicated in. And if Chad was part of the conspiracy, then why wasn't he part of the conspiracy in Arizona? I'll tell you why. Because these damn Arizona people ain't got a lick of fucking sense. Excuse my French. That is the first time I used the word F. And probably, hopefully, it'll be the last. They ain't got nothing that they can say that he is not implicated. They got all the evidence in the world that he conspired. And I remember quite clearly, back last year, I said, if they don't charge Chad with doing this with Lori, not going to get the money. If they don't do that, or Alex and Chad talking before the attempt on Brandon's life and after the attempt on Brandon's life, and the mere fact that Chad was rolling a damn tire and seating into the freaking storage unit, that this would close the door on Lori being able to say that Chad, this was all Chad's doing. Chad was the mastermind, and she was so mentally ill and weak and vulnerable that she just believed him. And I thought that was great news. I thought, that makes sense. If Arizona's got Lori over here doing this shit and Chad's not implicated in it, then it's going to show that Lori was already a criminal, diabolical, evil hussy before even getting into Idaho. But then I got to thinking more about it, and I thought, well, because Chad has not been implicated in Arizona, where did the conspiracy start in terms of the state then? Because the state doesn't have any proof that they can provide jurisdictionally of Chad and the conspiracy. They can't do that. It has to be within the jurisdiction of Idaho. Remember we talked last time, some of y'all got that last motion or not, but John Pryor was talking about, I'm assuming all this took place in Idaho. Well, the state can't bring up that Chad was helping Lori murder Charles, calling Charles Dark or a zombie or Ned or Hiplos or any of that shit. He's not indicted. He's not implicated over there, so they can't bring that up. They can about Lori in Arizona. Arizona can, but even Idaho has to stick with JJ, Tylee, and Tammy. That's it. That's it. That is their focus. That's what their case is about. There's nothing in the murder indictment that speaks of the attempt on Brandon's life or Charles Vallow. It wouldn't, because it's not in that state. Many of y'all already know that. But for those who don't, if anyone thinks that a judge is going to allow testimony in about the behaviors of Lori or Chad in Arizona, number one, it's prejudicial. Number two, it's unrelated to the indictment. The judge ain't going to allow those prior acts to come in. Chad is gaining weight everywhere, especially his chin. It's going bigger than Pinocchio's nose, and his gherkin is shrinking. How do you know, Gene? How do you know that Chad's gherkin's shrinking? Huh? Is it the last time you see him walk in the courtroom, you could just tell by the way he walked that he had a little itty bitty one, or maybe Bubba gave you a call, Gene, and told you all about it. You know, I'm just playing. I believe it, Maria P. And let them wonder why they have to eat and use portals now when their lowercase g God says hope, grace. Well, that's right. Y'all just vent on, because I'm just telling you right now, this whole situation with Chad Daybell and Lori Daybell, they can put it off all they damn well want to. I mean, their attorneys are not ready. They're not ready to face the music. The fact that the state of Idaho is going to nail their ass to the wall. And I'm angry. I'm angry because the family members need, the family members need to know that we can have some kind of assurance of a court date. And I'm assuming, this is just me, that after October 13th, when all this stuff is ironed out, we'll get the word. I tend to believe Big E when he says that he thinks that the trial's going to be moved back. I myself feel that way. Some of y'all feel that way. I'd love to sit here and tell you that Judge Boyce is going to put his damn foot down about it all and keep everything on schedule. But I'll tell you this right now. The only sliver of hope I have that it's going to be January 9th is the fact that there is a lot of shit going on in Ada County right now to get ready for this trial. They've allotted that time. He can't have two trials because of a severance in Ada County. He can't have one in Fremont for Lori and one in Ada County for Chad. That would not be fair. Two co-defendants. And if he said, okay, they're not going to be co-defendants anymore, they're going to have separate trials. The bottom line is that's twice the expense. It's just twice the expense. I don't think the judge is going to sever this case. I think he's going to keep Chad and Lori together on this. I think that there are going to be many motions that Archie and John Pryor are going to file. Not because they think they're going to get their way with that motion. They're putting stuff in before the trial so that it will be on record in Idaho for state and federal appeals. That's what I think. Linda Cadillo says, KJ, what about the murder charge against Chin for his killing of his wife? How is he going to blame anyone for that? The only other person he could blame, is there reasonable doubt that Alex was right up the road and that Alex was the one that murdered his wife? Because the only other two people that were there were Chad and Garth didn't murder his mother. And make no mistake, y'all, make no mistake. The state of Idaho would not have charged Chad Daybell with murder and conspiracy to commit murder, the murder itself, without that autopsy showing her cause of death as homicide. They just wouldn't do it. How could they? If a jury can't hear that this exhumation, and they were able to get whatever evidence of whatever it was, which Emma says it was asphyxiation, and they ruled that a homicide, if they can't get that to say that and it's anything like undetermined or natural causes, the state wouldn't go after Chad for murder. So I am confident, absolutely confident, that they've got that foundation right there. Plus you add all the other crap. The Julie Rose knocking on the door shit. And Julie and Tammy is fading away kind of crap. She's gonna die in car accidents. She's turning into Viola now. Her time has come. Give me a break. I think Boyce is going to do a little give and take here. I don't think the trial will be in January, but I also don't think it'll be pushed to October. Pryor will be all time, but and I don't know what time to get help. But the fact that he's waited almost 2 years to ask isn't going to play in his favor. That's a good point, Sabrina Holmes. I think the judge has been as fair as he can be. And when you've got a defense attorney actually asking the judge to toll, T-O-L-L, the absolute, you've got to have this done in this certain amount of time. When they start doing that, Judge Boyce, this is just my opinion. This is probably going to piss Judge Boyce off because he's not in the middle of, okay, defense, how are you doing good? Are you ready for trial or anything? He's leaving them alone just as he's leaving the state alone. He's been hearing the defense attorney say, we're ready to go. At least Chad's attorney. And the state, hell, they've been ready since 2 years ago from the way they talked. Daughter of Scotland says, Charles thought he was helping, but all he was doing was keeping watch for Lori and Chad on what Charles was up to. Oh, someone else? Okay. Might have been, what, Jason Mao? I'm sure he'll get his one day. I think Boyce is already pissed off with their crap. I believe that too, Tina Reddington. I really do. The bottom line is you've got Chad wanting a continuance, and you've got Archie there for Lori saying, let's pause this. So there's got to be. I mean, it'd be different if Lori was still saying, we want my speedy trial. But that's not what's going on here. Now you've got two defense attorneys, the co-defendants' attorneys, saying they need a pause, a continuance. And the judge has got to, just as Sabrina Holmes says, he's gonna give them a little bit, I'm sure. But this whole damn thing about October 2023 that the state wanted, that would be a travesty. That would be a travesty. That's a Rolo. Gabe Vanilla. Hope Grace says, I pray that however long it takes through all this roller coaster ride, that justice will prevail. And Hope Grace, there are certain things that stick in my mind about the people, the subscribers, and even people that just visit that don't subscribe, the ones that don't comment or do comment. But I've heard more than once that some of the older folks on here, which I consider myself old, I'm 51, but some older folks say they want to see this case come to justice before they die. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. Kathy says that she's eating Snickers and Milky Ways while watching. Well, Kathy, it was either this or a nice big bottle of something good that makes me act silly. And I thought, no, it's Tuesday. I ain't going to do it. But, you know, in some ways, I'd like to take a good stiff drink. But it wouldn't make me feel any better at this point. But this Reese's sure will. Sugar Magnolia says, I just turned 50. Well, Sugar Magnolia, you're younger than me. If they would release Tylee and JJ to the family to be laid to rest, I wouldn't be so concerned with the trial date. I hope Boyce takes that into consideration, and I agree with that, Sabrina. There's no reason. I mean, by goodness sake, if they can't get their damn case together, at least make a decision on whether they want a second autopsy. I'm drinking Sprite because that's all I can have. Haven't had caffeine or candy since Friday. I'm so jealous, says Jennifer. Jennifer. Well, Jennifer, I'm going to eat a Kit Kat in your honor. How about that, Jennifer? This is making me actually feel better, and I hate to say it, I confess it. Chocolate just does it for me. It calms my ass down. And yes, I've yelled a couple of times since I've been on here, but by God, if I didn't have this chocolate here, y'all be calling Bellevue and saying, go get KJ! She's losing her freaking mind! Sugar Magnolia says, let them be laid to rest. All of us believe in this. All of us want this. Oh, just me. You can be sure of it. She didn't want Larry and Kay to have the kind of relationship that JJ deserved. She didn't have to think about Larry and Kay. She should have been thinking about JJ and what's best for JJ. And what's best for him was to have a relationship with his grandparents. Oh, gosh. Sugar Magnolia. My husband, Wayne, he used to drink Sundrops every day. And finally, he said, I can't do this anymore. His doctor told him to stop drinking them. He was gaining all this weight. Well, let me tell you what, the more sugar I put in me, the thinner I get. I don't know what it is with my metabolism. I could take a whole freaking bag, a pound of sugar, put it in some sweet tea and never gain a pound. Hey, Monique Morissette. He loved his Sundrops, though, Sugar Magnolia. Angel, what's going on? Sorry, I can't catch all of them. Am I supposed to read? I mean, I can't because they're disappearing and moving. I'm trying to give everyone an equal say on here. If I miss somebody, it is nothing personal. A Sundrop, Crochet and Mammy, is a carbonated drink, and it's kind of like a Mountain Dew. It's citrusy. I can look at a bag of candy and gain 10 pounds, says Paula. Sounds good to me. Enjoy it. I love Airheads, and I've tried to nibble on some, and nope, too sore. I had tooth pulled Friday and still in a lot of pain. Probably going to be back to more to see why. Uh-oh. Hope it's not infected, Jennifer. Yeah, it's a carbonated. Sundrop is like a Mountain Dew, and if you don't know what a Mountain Dew is, it's almost like a neon greenish color, light green color. It's citrusy. It's like a Coca-Cola, but it's citrusy. It's not like a dark Coca-Cola. Sabrina Holmes says she killed JJ to hurt Kay and Larry because she was pissed off about the insurance money. I believe that every fiber of my being, and no one can convince me otherwise. Money is all she ever cared about. Well, Sabrina, don't it you find it rich that she's indigent now on her own damn fat chin, slobbering Raphael, ugly mug guy. Chad Daybell isn't there to help his wife. And if John Pryor wants to bring up this about an antagonistic defense, that it was Alex and Lori, then why in the hell isn't Chad filing for divorce? Pryor has filed a motion for the grand jury transcript. Kathy, that grand jury transcript has already been provided. Are you talking about the indictment on murder? The grand jury transcript has already been provided. I've looked on there myself and looked at it. So, Jean Panek says, it's been 3 years ago today. Tammy drove to Utah, 4 hours away. She was perfectly healthy. Thank you for reminding us of that, Jean. My husband went to come through the front door, and now he's like, oh, she's on her live stream. So he's going to go around and go through the other door so he doesn't have to say hi, I guess. But when he comes in here, I'm going to make him, just because he did that to me. I want y'all all to say hi to Wayne if he comes through here. Eric just texted it to us. Huh. Well, I knew that the grand jury transcript had already been provided. I don't know. I mean, unless there's another transcript out there. I've looked on the portal myself, but there was a request for, the judge ordered it, that the grand jury transcript be provided. This is a Heath. Heath, you know, the English toffee? Oh, he's leaving. But you know what I like to do with the English toffee here on the Heath bar? I like to scrape the chocolate off with my teeth. Oh, it didn't do it. But I like to take the full bar, you know, and do that. He's done left the driveway. He probably came in here to get him a smooch. He'll come in and out during the day. All he does, you know, he owns this big company with all these employees and stuff. And he goes from job site to job site. And he just basically is the guy that walks around and tells everybody what to do. And then he'll come home if he's going between jobs or whatever. He'll just come home and say, hey, honey, how are you? And he'll give me a kiss and walk right back out the door. How sweet is that? And he leaves me little letters by the coffee pot all the time. Cute little letters like, you're my sweetie and all that. Don't y'all ever tell him I told you. I love Butterfingers too. Just me. I can't believe I've been on here eating this candy, trying to do what I'm doing, but I want to give y'all a preview. Oh, he is Brenda. We've been married 13 years. Been together over 14. And he's my best friend. He knows me better than anybody else. He puts up with old KJ. Oh, I wish Harley 62. If he did, I'd send him your way. But listen, I want to give y'all a preview of my pre-record. Now listen, I want to apologize on the last motion there, the Archie's bat up or Archie's time to bat or whatever. What I was trying, it wasn't that I was just going to read it out and then I was trying to get through it. It's very complicated, and I try so hard to break it down. I'm not going to say anything that I feel like is not the right thing to say, but at the same time, y'all know I'm an old country girl, and I see the legalese in my own words. So if there was some kind of misunderstanding or if I jumped around, I apologize. But in legality, it is so hard to break it down. But this next pre-record that I'm going to be doing is going to be on Chad Daybell's motion to sever. Again, and like I told y'all earlier, it's not going to be beating a dead horse. This is a whole new issue because he brings up different issues now. Number one, he brings up there's going to be an antagonistic defense. Number two, he brings up that Chad didn't have anything to do with anything that went on in Arizona, which proves that he was in no conspiracy. There are a lot of things that old KJ gleaned from that. But just to give y'all a flavor, and some of y'all have gotten a hold of this, and I'll post it on the community wall, he actually puts a table of contents at the beginning of it on his motion to sever. He's first, and I'm just going to read each section that he's going to be providing. He starts out with the procedural history, talking about when these cases got joined and all this stuff. Then it says this motion must be evaluated in light of the heightened reliability required in capital cases, as well as the unique Eighth Amendment protections afforded to capital defendants. So that's the first part that he wants to go over. Then he brings up a joint capital trial would materially prejudice Mr. Daybell. This is his arguments. And he has some case law to break this up, but there's other case law that I know that it proves quite clearly that if you're in a conspiracy to commit murder and you have a co-defendant, it's done all the time, does not mean that he's been prejudiced. Then he talks about, in terms of materially prejudiced, he says a joint trial would deprive Mr. Daybell of his constitutional rights to present a complete defense. If Chad Daybell could not present a complete defense, being a co-defendant in a conspiracy to commit murder trial, then John Pryor needs his ass kicked off the case. Get somebody who'll do their damn job. A joint trial would create a conflict between the right against self-incrimination and the right to individualize sentencing determinations. Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be really hard for Chad or Lori not to self-incriminate them when the state pulls out all these damn text messages and recordings with their voices on them. They're ridiculous. A joint trial would create a conflict between Mr. Daybell's confrontation rights and Miss Vallow's constitutional rights. No, it wouldn't. If Mr. Daybell wants to confront Lori as co-defendant, he can do that. And it's not going to make the evidence go on a collision course. It's going to all line up. That's why they can't. A joint trial would create a conflict between the due process right and co-defendant's right to withhold penalty phase evidence until trial. And when we're talking about penalty phase evidence until trial, the bottom line is that everything they speak of in the trial, when they get down to the nitty gritty, when the state presents their evidence of their guilt of conspiracy to commit murder and all these damn money crimes and all this shit, the bottom line is why wouldn't they bring it back up in a penalty phase? If it's proven, duh, John Pryor, go back to law school. A joint trial would create the risk of sentencing based on gender stereotyping in violation of Mr. Daybell's right to individualized sentencing. And here comes the gender shit. I'm surprised he hasn't added religion and race to it like Archie has. Give me a break. Severance is routinely granted in capital cases due to the need for heightened reliability and other constitutional protections specific to death penalty cases. Oh yeah, they do. They are routinely granted. They are. Severances are. When the evidence doesn't go on a collision course, when you have a true and real antagonistic defense. Don't forget I just said that to y'all, because when I get to this pre-record, I'm going to explain. Again, we all know generally antagonistic defense means pointing the fingers. But can Chad and Lori point fingers at one another without self-incriminating themselves? How can Chad say, Lori did this, and he had knowledge at the time that she did a crime? Guess what? That's conspiracy, because he didn't say shit to nobody. When she got put in jail in Hawaii, did Chad step up and say, I didn't know what was going on. I thought Alex and Lori had the kids off somewhere. I went and married her in November, and I thought the kids were just fine and dandy. Give me a break. And then he talks about reversals of his conviction for failure to sever capital co-defendants. I guarantee you that Judge Boyce, because he has done this joinder of offenses, because it's conspiracy to commit murder, I guarantee you that is a priority for him. He's not going to join something together and then improperly not sever it if it needs to be severed. Because what will Judge Boyce do then? Do you think Judge Boyce doesn't know that there are reversals because he didn't sever something? He understands all that, and he's doubled down. He knows he's right. Federal courts routinely grant severance in capital cases. Well, guess what? Guess what, John Pryor? This is the state of Idaho. This is a district court in the state of Idaho. This is a criminal court in the state. And before the federal government gets their ass in it all, it's got to go through state appeals processes. Judicial economy weighs in favor of severance. You think so, y'all? You think John Pryor is right when he says that to sever this case would give judicial economy? When we're talking about 2 trials that have to be taking place in Boise. It can't be, one can't be somewhere else. Even if Archie agreed, even if Archie says, okay, Judge, you've severed the cases, and we're okay with it being here in Fremont. No. The judge has ordered change of venue on co-defendants, both of them. He kept both of them in mind. He wanted to make sure that he give them a fair trial with a good, large jury pool. Severance is additionally appropriate because Mr. Daybell requires a continuance in order to adequately prepare a defense. And Miss Vallow has asserted her right to a speedy trial. Well, isn't that a quickie, y'all? Page number 25 in John Pryor's motion says that Miss Vallow has asserted her right to a speedy trial. Well, wouldn't y'all think that's a moot point by now? Now that Archie doesn't want his speedy trial, he wants it paused too. So this whole bullshit is where he talks about because Lori wants her speedy trial. It's over on his argument on that. And this whole idea that he's been his attorney for 2 freaking years and that he requires a continuance in order to adequately prepare for a defense. What the hell has he been doing all this time? Gosh. I truly believe God blessed me with Tom after the hell I went through the first 42 years of my life. Hey, Kathy, I believe everything you tell me. That's just all I got to say about that, because I know you're a very honest and real woman. The only thing Dumbbell requires is a severe shock treatment. Well, I guarantee you, Tina, it absolutely shocked Chad Daybell when he realized that Bubba had eyes for him. You see, Bubba saw him from across the cell there. Chad was behind the bars, and Bubba was over in his cell behind his bars. And Bubba was right there with the bars right here, and he was looking at Chad, and he was winking at him. And then Chad got more shocked when they were in the lunch line there, when Bubba walked up behind him and asked him, "Hey, Chatty boy, can I have your pickle?" Defensive strategies are considered antagonistic either when each defendant assesses his own innocence and accuses the other of committing the crime. That's right, Kathy. Or the judge or jury can't believe one defendant without disbelieving the other one. And that's, thank you for putting that there, Kathy. I'm sorry I got off base there with Bubba. But you're right, because when I do this pre-record, I really want to go into it now, but y'all, it's very kind of complicated. I need a little bit of time to absorb the fact that Archie is trying to get Lori back up there in the spa up there. What's interesting about it all is the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare don't want shit to do about it. All they're concerned about is protecting her information from this author or anyone else. And they don't want to be part of the October 13th hearing. They're not being summoned to be there. Hurricane Holly says Bubba wants to tickle Chin's pickle. Oh, yeah. Bubba and Chad. I'm going to tell you what, Chad's going to get his shock treatment when Bubba bends him over. You can be sure of that. Sabrina says, I can't imagine a way that Pryor can spend the whole Chad is innocent and Lori's evil woman crap when they're still married. If Chad really felt that way, he would have already divorced her. Correct, Sabrina. If Lori thought that Chad was the mastermind and that she was vulnerable and she can't believe he did this to her, she thought her kids were free. Give me a break. I am so shocked, now that we're speaking of Chad being shocked, but KJ's shocked that we didn't find out that the kids had life insurance policies on them. The only thing I know is that she kept spending the money that they had every month. I'm so shocked that she didn't have life insurance on her children. Maybe it'll come out in the trial, who knows? Well, no, because it wasn't listed in the murder indictment, so forget that. But I wouldn't have been surprised. Kathy Gregg says, after all this time is on fire, I think John Pryor needs to sound. And what about what defender? That's on fire, has to think. I don't quite understand that, but I tried to. Anyway, Kathy, I apologize. Maybe I'm not just me. Just me's trying to get me all thinking about gherkin pickles. We all need to try to find something, whether it's chocolate, and in my case, Chad might have a gherkin pickle, but I have Whoppers, okay? Whoppers will help OKJ through the storm here. We're going to get through this, y'all. Trust me. It might seem like this is on a collision course with Lori going back to the spa, but as I put this Whopper in my mouth, I can assure y'all, I'm thinking this through. This is an initial reaction for all of us, and every one of us are sick and damn tired of this shit. But the bottom line is the adjudication process is messy. Justice is not easy. I said it myself, and here I am falling apart, eating candy in front of all of you. Well, JoJo from Kokomo says, I don't really care if the death penalty is taken off or not. Chud will die in prison. He's 50 now. Well, that's a good point, JoJo. And listen, the bottom line is y'all. I'm telling you, whenever we think that the family is not getting justice, and it has not gotten here yet, but there is a sliver of justice that's happening now. And that is these two crazy-ass, dangerous serial killers, they're not walking the streets. Yes, Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, Melanie P. Those people that believe in all this crap, or did anyway, they'll go out and they'll end up on the 5 o'clock news one day. The bottom line, what I'm trying to say is whenever we feel like this case is not getting adjudicated to its completion and that the family receive full justice, we can at least take a deep breath and say those two are not enjoying Whoppers candies or Reese's or Rolos or Heath bars or even Milk Duds. They're in there eating slop. That's what they're eating. They're eating damn shit on a shingle. They're in there eating whatever they're eating. Yeah, I know. They said Idaho jail has good food. Well, it ain't the kind of food all of us have been eating. I guarantee if I asked all y'all what you're having for supper tonight, and Chad and Lori could see what y'all were having for supper tonight, they'd be drooling down their mouth right now. Kathy. Gene Panek, I won't have any merchandise. Y'all know how this channel works. This channel's not going to be here forever. If Crasher or Kathy or any of them want to put on a t-shirt, give me a break or whatever, they could do that. I'll buy one. I'll buy more than one. We need to think about Crasher. We need to think about supporting her about getting her to this trial whenever it's going to be. Well, Crochet and Bammy, some people like the shit on a shingle. I get it. But you think about having that every day of every damn week. These damn sack lunches. I don't give a damn how well the Idaho jail makes their food. It ain't no damn Red Lobster. I can go to any damn restaurant I want whenever I want. I've got damn everything from ribeye to crown rack of lamb in my damn freezer. I can have whatever the hell I want to eat. These assholes, they got to stay regular. In other words, they have to take a shit every day where it's not diarrhea, it's not constipation. They absolutely, jails and prisons have to keep people regular so that Lori will sit on the toilet and do her holy turd, okay? They got to make sure that it keeps them from getting what? Sick. Jails do not want, prisons do not want their inmates to get sick. So they have to keep them on a fibrous diet. They're the same shit all the time. I'm going to try it again. Damn stroke, I think. John Pryor remove himself from the case because he doesn't know what he's doing, and let the public defenders take a nap at it. Good point, Kathy Gregg. But you think about it like this. If that actually happened, how much longer would a new attorney have to take before they were up to speed? You know what I'm saying? John Pryor might as well stay on it. There's going to come a point where he ain't going to be able to damn say we're not ready because the judge is going to say tough shit. This case will never get the justice it deserves for JJ, Tylee, Charles, Tammy, or Joe, and all the families that are hurting so bad over this, and the judge just don't give a flying F, says Bama Cat. Well, I know how you feel, Bama Cat. All of us do. We're all very, very frustrated and angry, and we're thinking of the victims' family members. We are. And you know, I can't speak for you, but for me personally, it bothers me because I wanted to see justice through understanding. I want to see the adjudication process all the way through. My mind keeps saying integrity of the case, integrity of the case. Justice is messy. Justice is not easy. Death penalty case, it's complex. But I mean, you know, how long? Really? Hello, Leanne. Crochet and Bammy says, I doubt Idaho jail food is any better than anywhere else. It's a racist, privately owned business, and they're going to save a buck anyway they can. I never know what y'all are going to say, but y'all deserve to be heard. What do you think of the news, Leanne Ferguson? Huh? Archie, he wants time because Lori's mental health is so fragile and complex. And the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare is saying they ain't gonna dang have no dog in that. Leanne Ferguson says it very clearly. Grrr. I think I said that right. Grrr. Tina, when Just Me's talking about tuna or cat food, she's talking about the smell that's coming out of Lori's yoga pants. Sorry. Oh my Lord, y'all. Please forgive me. I've had too much candy. But can't nobody say OKJ came on here drunk. This is not liquor of any sort, alcohol. Private eye, watching you They see your every move, oh yeah, private eye, watching you, private eye, they're watching you, watching you. Oh, you do that, Donna Donald. I'll post it on KJ and the Ray. Sabrina says, I have a feeling that good jail food is like good hospital food. When they say good, they don't actually mean it's good food. They mean it's good compared to other jails. There you go, Private Eye. That was just for you. You didn't expect that from old KJ, did you? Donald, I love you. I love everyone on here. I'm so glad that y'all decided to come on Ray Room on the Fly, because when I heard this, I said, you know what? I've got to vent this out. Who's doing the comparison between jail food, prisoners or owners, says Crochet and Bammy. Yeah. The hospital I go to has an actual chef, and the food is better than I can cook. Well, Kathy, maybe I need to make a reservation at your hospital. Of course, you know what? Y'all are welcome to come down to Tennessee anytime, and I'll cook you a good old-fashioned meal. You'll be so dang, you'll be like a bear inside of a beehive after eating all that honey. Just bread and water, says Mandy Paul. Wouldn't that be nice, Mandy? Wouldn't that be just nice if they didn't get treated? This goes back, y'all, obviously, to they're innocent until proven guilty. Give me a break. Remember Barry Cox and Zulema were insurance agents or worked at an insurance company in the past, so they never know who has life insurance policies. Did Stacy Cope have one on her? I have no idea, Gene. SB Tesla, I hope I'm saying that correct. I don't understand why they are treating Lori and Chad like a queen and king. Whew. It's sickening. Well, SB Tesla, this goes back again. That this, I think it's the 8th Amendment, cruel and unusual punishment. Imagine that. You think that Chad and Lori gave out any cruel and unusual punishment? I would say it was absolutely cruel and unusual, and more than just punishment. They murdered all these people, and they're going to have to face it. And their defense attorneys can go all they want, put it off all they want, because once that hammer of justice has slammed down and they are convicted, the rights that they are trying to wiggle in and out of like little demons is going to be over. They're going to be wards of the state of Idaho for the rest of their freaking days. Donna Donald says they're trying to keep Lori and Chad from being able to appeal the judgments they deserve. That's correct. See, you know, we see things where we're like, get this on the road and everything. All of us feel this way. We don't really know if even the state's as prepared as they need to be. We don't, and we sure know that the defense isn't ready. And if the judge, I mean, what judge is not in a death penalty case like this? What judge is not even going to consider a continuance for one or both of the defendants, which in this case is what he's doing now. Chad wants a continuance, and Archie's client, old hussy there, wants a continuance. The judge, there's no reason why he wouldn't accommodate that. Now, I guess the question is how far out? Because if it's not going to be January 9th, the bottom line is if he rules that it's going to be moved out a little bit more, I guarantee, excuse me, went down the wrong tube. I guarantee you, the judge is going to tell him, I'm going to give you this continuance. But you better damn be ready, because there ain't going to be no more excuses. Archie has a better excuse, not Lori's mental health, but Archie not being on the case very long than Chad does. John Pryor's been on this forever. And he's not ready. He can't adequately defend his client. Get a second chair, John Pryor! Right, just me. I'd rather have it done correctly. SB Tesla says, exactly, I sure hope they get what's coming to them. It's just taking way too long. Totally understandable. I think that's a consensus in here. Sunny D says, I love you, screaming out exactly how I feel. Well, I'll tell you what, if I could turn this camera inward and have you be on here instead of me, I would consider that a lot more of something better to watch on YouTube. I just want y'all to know that today it's disheartening. It was disheartening when they took the cameras out of everything. This is not how any of us wanted it. I feel like the judge is going to give a continuance. It's not going to happen on January 9th. I have to agree with Eric, Big E. Do I think that Lori's going to go back into the mental health facility? No, I don't. I think Archie's waving that around, trying to threaten with that. But at this point, the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare is not on board with any of that. Lori would have to sit in her jail cell and be rubbing feces on the wall and licking the wall for them to send her ass back up there. Nancy Brownie says, 2 years not long enough to get your case together. He wanted the trial in October of this year at one point. Do your job, Pryor. Exactly. And as you recall, the state wanted it in 2023 of October. What does that say? Does that say that if they want it, this was before he ruled January 9th of 2023. The state says October of 2023. What does that say about the state? Are they not ready like they say they are? Why take all that? Why? I mean, why prolong it? Leanne Ferguson, I think there has been some testimony. Let's see. Where was that? About Lori not malingering. It was in one of the motions or something, and they can't put something that isn't true in a motion. There's a lot of sealed stuff as well. What testing they did on Lori to determine, because there are valid tests to find out whether someone's malingering or not. Again, this goes back to something that a lot of people in psychiatry and psychology, therapists and stuff, do not seem to grasp in terms of reality. And that is there are evil people out here in the world that seem like they are mentally ill. And they're devious enough to be able to truly believe everything they're saying and doing. And they're able to get by on the, I will never accept. I don't care if the most high profile psychiatrist in the world came in and said, here's the reasons why Lori was not malingering. I will not believe it. I believe she was malingering. I believe it's her history. I believe she has so much narcissism and so much twisted evilness in her. In fact, I really believe Lori and Chad are exactly what they were telling everybody else was. They're dark. They're dark. They're evil, dark zombies. And I'm going to use their definition. That's what Lori and Chad are, in OKJ's view. Not that I believe in that shit, but if we're going to go there. The state doesn't want to try the case either. They don't want to spend the money nor effort. They're waiting for Chad and Lori to turn on each other and plead. Well, Robinette Bannister, that's a good theory. John Pryor has already stated it in this motion for severance that he intends to do the antagonistic defense. Y'all remember last year where the state told the judge, we haven't seen the antagonistic defense yet. And remember I told y'all, I said they haven't showed their hand. The defense attorneys have not showed their hands yet on whether they are going to say we have the antagonistic defense. Well, it's spelled out in this motion. And I will be doing a pre-record. Be looking for that. Now that I've been on here on Ray Room Fly, I think I'll probably release it tomorrow, which was really, I was thinking about doing it this afternoon, but I'm trying to go back to Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays on pre-records. And I really didn't expect to come on Ray Room Fly, but I'm glad I did because I got to chat with all of y'all, to know that I'm not alone in the frustration and the hurt for the victims' family members, that this keeps getting put off, and all these stupid things that the defense attorneys are trying to pull. Yeah, they need to defend their clients, but it's just disingenuous. It's just absolutely disingenuous. Hey, Yin Yang. Lori Malinger and Dayhill. Good one. Yeah, Leanne Ferguson, remember we talked about that the state was on that Zoom call, and it was Lindsay Blake, I believe, said that they had not seen any statement of antagonistic defense. I forgot which Zoom hearing that was. But then from there, we talked about it, like touching on it, where I said, you know, we hadn't heard it. Could happen, though. And I guess it's getting down to the nitty gritty, and John Pryor is showing a little bit of his hand. And he thinks that because there is going, in his view, that there is a true antagonistic defense, if he is saying we have an antagonistic defense, it's got to be a certain way in order for the courts to say that this should be severed because of antagonistic defense, and not just because they're pointing fingers at one another. Because the bottom line is, you've got two co-defendants in a murder trial. What the hell are they going to do? Of course they're going to point the finger at each other. What for? Reasonable doubt. It's just as clear as crystal. Hi, Arwen. Oh, I hope you get to feeling better, Arwen. Margaret Gibson says, you're simply expressing what most people feel deeply but do not have the courage to say. It's a boil festering. You burst it. Thank you, sweetheart. God has been outraged all along. Thank you, Margaret. The fog of stink is fogging these attorneys' vision. Well, Mandy, it's all going to get ironed out on the 13th. We're not going to have to wait too long. And I still have motion for severance from John Pryor. We can go over the motion, his motion for continuance as well. There's really no use in going over Lori's motion for a continuance because it's all redacted out. And it really comes down to what her attorney has said about her being, in the motion. It's 2 pages long and it's all redacted out. Of course, it's because of her mental issues. He talks about the time limit to file written notice of our intention to raise an issue of mental condition under Idaho Code Title 18 is 90 days before trial, he wrote. So that's why he wants this continuance. And this could very well mean that they want to send her back to the spa. But it could also mean that he has to have that on record before the trial, and that this would help them not get, that she would not get death. She would get life if it's on the record that she's had these issues. Y'all remember me? You got to remember me saying it'd be nearly impossible for them to give her the death penalty if she's got all these mental health issues and she's been ruled incompetent and staying in a nut house for 10 months. That's a mitigating factor. Pure and simple. And again, y'all know how I feel. That mitigating factor of her being mentally ill, I feel like she's malingering. Yes, I believe she has mental illness, but I don't believe it's so detrimental that she didn't know what was right or wrong. And I sure don't think that she didn't know how to malinger in her evilness. Right, Angel? You're right. No death penalty for Lori. I agree with that. I got whiplash when I heard Lore's lawyers want to stay. I hope Cresha and the rest of the family are practicing self-care. And Nettie, you're right. You know, we should be more focused on the family members. But you know and I know they have been up and down and all around. But I've met these people. They are strong, resilient. They believe that justice is going to be done. They have a faith and a love. You know, not only for JJ and Tylee, Tammy and Charles and even Joe, but they've got an extended family. They're all very strong and very cohesive with one another. They're what any American family would want to be, a beautiful family. When I went to visit them in Louisiana, it put my heart to rest. I knew that this family was going to get justice, and that during the process and the pain that they're going to have to experience, that they've been experiencing from day one, that the children were missing, even before the children were missing, even when Larry and Kay were trying to see JJ, and the situation with Charles, what happened to Kay's brother, Charles. They have been hurting for many, many years, but they're very resilient. They're going to get through this. They're going to do fine. I believe it in my heart of hearts. And I pray for them every day. Personally, I feel they should ship Lori and Chad to Fort Myers and make them clean up the devastation without food, water, and electric. This would be a death penalty of another kind. My heart is broke. Marilyn, yes, our hearts and prayers are with all the people down in Florida. I've seen the pictures. It's devastating. But just as all these other natural disasters all over the country and even in the world, people pick up the pieces and they move forward. And our prayers, if we can, you know, think about everybody and try to pray for them and hope they're doing safe and well, that's good. Pryor wants cameras so he doesn't have to remember what went on in the court that day. He can have a whiskey and watch the day. You know, I'll tell you, the reason John Pryor wants cameras in the courtroom on the trial, now he didn't say pre-trial, he said the trial. But that's coming from Nate Eaton. So I believe Nate Eaton, I believe, you know, him as a source. But this is going to sound crazy to y'all, but I think John Pryor wants cameras in the courtroom because this will make it become more puffed up and he could be more famous, where he can get more money, you know? And before it's all said and done, there is no doubt in my heart and mind that the judge at the end of this case, Chad and Lori are not going to be able to make money off of this at all. The judge, I really feel like there'll be something in there that they will never be able to profit off what they've done. It would be a travesty of justice if that wasn't in the final conviction order. That's just the way I see it. Angel says, KJ, you may be stuck with us till 2023 at this pace. Well, Angel, I told everyone when I opened up this channel, I said we were going to get justice through understanding, whatever that means to you. Y'all followed me along through this. I told y'all after this was all said and done, this channel will go offline. And I'm not going back on that. I am a woman of my word. Maybe things are shifted a little bit. I'm going back to pre-records, and my last live stream will be October 15th. And now this is a Ray Room on the fly. This isn't one of my Ray Room chats. This was a Ray Room on the fly. And up till the 15th, there might be a few live streams, but the 15th is the last time I'll be doing a live stream. Everything from there on will be pre-recorded because that's how I began. And many of y'all remember that from the very get-go. It was only just me releasing pre-records. I didn't have enough guts to get on a live stream or anything like that. And then finally, when I worked up the courage to do it, y'all helped me through it. And then I actually started having some confidence to do it, and I've enjoyed trying to learn things myself, and hopefully y'all have learned something. Y'all have taught me a lot and educated me. We've seen each other through ups and downs, and I appreciate everything that y'all have done for me. Y'all been good friends to me. I live out here in rural America. I don't have a lot of people to hang out with, but I get to hang out with y'all every so often, and that is a blessing. I feel very honored to be with any and all of y'all. So thank y'all so much for your time and effort. Remember, okay? Remember that I'm going to be releasing this pre-record on the motion for severance, and I'll also, after that, I'll be releasing one on John Pryor's motion for continuance. And then, I'm going to try my very best. And sometimes y'all are going to hear my vids like you have in the past and like, what the hell? It's not clicking, or I don't understand or whatever. Trust me when I say that I just don't sit down and read something without trying to figure out what it's all about. That's what justice through understanding is to me. It's looking ahead. It's being able to try to figure things out that I didn't know and wanting to share it with you. So anyway, thank y'all for blowing off some steam with me. I ate my candy. I love you all. And I'm going to get off of here. But please, after this has been posted, please, if you have any more comments, please leave them on the comment section. If I missed anyone's comments on here, I apologize. I'm not trying to overlook or think that your comments are not important. Sometimes I just don't see them because I have to keep putting my finger up here. And not only, y'all know me. I love each and every one of y'all. I think y'all are the greatest of the great. I mean that with every fiber of my being. I love you. And so with that said, let's keep in touch. Be looking for my pre-record. And keep on